Hey, what's good, gamers? Akalon here, and of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. I want to talk about something that I think is a little bit more important, and I think is it was big news last week. I had so many internet problems, and I decided to take a break. I was saying, okay, never mind. I'll wait for the internet to come back. I'm gonna take a well-deserved break. I don't know how well-deserved it was, but I still decided to take a break, so sue me.
Amazing.
So anyways, I'm back now, and I do want to talk about Christie Golden. And
so World of Warcraft, they're really shifting, like, who's making WoW. So, like, this other guy, Steve Denuser, like, he was the, like, the main guy for, like, lore. Like, he was at least the guy that they would have do interviews and shit, talking about the game. Well, this guy quietly left the company. Who knows whether he got fired, he left, whether it was a leave or you're getting fired. I don't know what it was. But, yeah, they got rid of him. And also Christine Golden, who was, you know, a writer for WoW for as long as I can remember, also got let go as well.
Leaving Blizzard Entertainment. Now, I get it. I get it. A lot of people were very angry. A lot of people were very upset about Christie leaving. Because for a lot of people, Christie was a good writer. I have a ton of her books. I love her writing stories. I don't like her style. I've said that before to you guys. I like her stories. I love reading her books because the story is really good. I get really frustrated reading the actual book, though, because to me, at least, and again, authors are incredibly subjective. It's not actually an indictment of an author, but for me personally, she just over-explains things way too much, and I want to get into the action. But that's just like me being an impatient little prick. So it doesn't actually, you know, as I said, it doesn't reflect badly on her. But she's been let go by Blizzard, and we also found out that Blizzard have actually been reorganizing and restructuring their entire narrative department. Now,
thank fucking God. Everything after Legion was written by soy boys. Femboys. Like the kind of guys that'll wear cat ears, and not as a joke, but like for fun. Like, I'm so sick of this like pussy shit, bro. Like, it's like, sometimes I don't realize how bad it got until I go back and I watch an old cinematic.
This is a project that actually started a while back already. So last year, Blizzard announced that World of Warcraft is getting its own dedicated narrative department. So before this, World of Warcraft did have its own dedicated writing team, but the narrative team, in other words, the short stories, the books, the cinematics, all of that, that was sort of more company-wide. And that team would make short stories and narratives and all the rest of it and cinematics for every single one of the games in the in the Blizzard ecosystem. Blizzard made their own department within World of Warcraft alone, and I do think
because like it got so bad that it was affecting the base game. Like, there was like a super viral post, like even beyond WoW, like it had like 50,000 likes, 100,000 likes on Twitter. And it was about how lame one of the Dragonflight cinematics was. It's like, even normies think this shit is boring.
At the time, I also said this. Blizzard is clearly trying to create a more enclosed ecosystem amongst all of their games.
Yeah,
so rather than having one department serve everything, have every game have its own little department. The biggest problem, though, is that outside of World of Warcraft, games at Blizzard isn't doing all that well. Diablo 4 keeps failing. It is just not seemingly clawing its way back into the hearts of players. And now with
I mean, Season 4 is great. I think Season 4 is a great season. The truth is that a lot of people have already made their decision that Diablo 4 is bad, and it's going to be really hard for them to retain players and bring those players back.
Path of Exile coming up, Path of Exile 2, actually. I kind of think that that will be the final nail in the coffin of whatever Diablo 4 was. I can see Blizzard was desperately trying to get their game into a playable position before Path of Exile 2 launched, because Path of Exile 1 kind of killed Diablo 3.
It completely did. Like, I remember, dude, the closed beta of PoE, whenever it came out, all anybody was talking about was how much Diablo 3 sucked. The entire general chat wasn't even talking about PoE. It was just about how bad Diablo 3 was.
clearly they're out of time now. Path of Exile is pretty close to launching. I don't exactly know when the date is. I'm not going to Google it now, but you guys can let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway, so things have been pretty nightmarish at Blizzard in terms of the writing styles and in terms of just the overall balance and the way things operate. It clearly seems like a lot of games are struggling, World of Warcraft excluded from that, because World of Warcraft is the one game.
Well, I wouldn't say certain games from Blizzard are struggling, because struggling would imply that they're alive. StarCraft is just dead. It's not struggling at all. It's dead. Heroes of the Storm, dead. Overwatch, they made a public press release basically saying it's dead. So yeah, they're not struggling at all.
Seems to have gotten its shit together, right? The developers are so cool. They're talking to us so often. Everything they're doing just looks really awesome. All right, let's talk about the narrative. Let's talk about Christie Golden, and let's discuss if this is actually as bad as people make it out to be. So firstly,
I'm gonna be honest. Like, if Blizzard said, listen, we've been having problems with the story, so we partnered with the California Zoo, and we're gonna bring in a team of trained monkeys that are gonna write the story from now on, I would say, hey, let's see what they got. You know, all right, that's fine. I'm ready for it. Like, I'm at the point where now, like, just do something. Do something that's not what you've been doing. Ape Gang, yeah, there it is.
Quickly get one thing straight here. There's been a lot of people online that sort of celebrated that Christie has finally gone. To that, I would say, I'm not sure what you're celebrating. I, for one, have not been...
Neither are they. They don't know who... Like, the truth is that nobody really knows who's responsible for the problems in the story and the, just, like, in my opinion, criminal level of just lameness. There's a story, it's just lame. It's like, oh, bro, like, oh...
Massive fan of the peace, love, and, you know, brotherhood of World of Warcraft. But that's not Christie's department. She was never and has never been the narrative lead for World of Warcraft. Christie gets given a story and a topic, and then they ask her to write a short story, or they ask her to write a cinematic, or they ask her to write
she's not making the decisions.
A quest line for that story. But the story comes from the narrative lead. So if the narrative lead wants it to end in peace, love, and brotherhood, there's nothing Christie... Like, she can't go up to the narrative lead and be like, no, screw you, I'll do what I want because I am Christie Golden. That's not how it works, right? So celebrating her leaving, like, why? She's proven herself to be a good author. She's proven that she can write...
She was... I mean, like, I think it's stupid to be happy about that because, like, let's just apply logic to the situation. Christie Golden was writing for WoW whenever people were happy with the story. And then the story changed and Christie Golden was still writing for WoW. So if she was a problem, then it wouldn't have been good whenever she was still involved. So it clearly wasn't her. That's how you... Like, how is this even a conversation?
Very good stories. So I don't know what that celebration is. It just appears to be a celebration that is maybe a little bit more politically motivated. And while in many ways I share the politics, probably to some extent, I don't share the stupidly celebrating things that matter not in this regard. She has always been a lovely human being. I've seen her tweet, and she never really attacks anyone. She doesn't really ever go after the player base. She seems like a sweet person. So I don't know why we're attacking her for that. I think her leaving is far more indicative of a problem that Metzen may have identified within World of Warcraft, and that is that there is just too many cooks in the kitchen. There's just too many people basically trying...
That's probably true. Yeah, I mean, that could be true. Yeah.
To make art. And one of the key things that we know, thanks to trial and error, is that one cannot make art by committee. it doesn't work when you have 20 writers, and each of the 20 writers are basically giving input and trying.
Yeah, I think he's 100% on this. I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of games and like stories that I feel like are written by committee. It's like there's a certain degree of like authenticness that just like isn't there. It's overcooked. Yeah, exactly.
To steer the story, because it ends up feeling a little disjointed. That's really the best word for it. Because you have all of these people, each wanting their own storylines in the game, and it just ends up feeling broken. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Usually, if you go to games that really celebrate story, and Final Fantasy is probably one of the MMOs that comes to mind here, they tend to have one lead writer per expansion.
Yeah, wasn't it like that that lady who was just pretty much in charge of doing Shadowlands, or it's not Shadowlands, Shadowbringers? And like she also, if I like this is going back, she also wrote the Dark Knight questline as well in Heaven's Ward. Yeah. Yeah, and people know exactly who that is.
And that one lead writer will have their vision realized for that expansion.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Mason might be moving Blizzard in that direction. Having one writer write the story for an expansion, making sure that there is an actual through line, and that the vision
I can forgive Blizzard for this fuck up, because Alex Afrasiabi used to be that guy, and then it turned out that he was like a creep weirdo, and so they fired him. So like they actually did just like randomly lose their guy. Oh yeah, no, that's a factor.
Is realized as they move into the expansion. Now that's generally not Chris Metzen. He's not really the individual sort of lore writer. He tends to, or he's more of a lore writer. He's not so much a narrative writer.
It's like world building.
So he's probably going to have narrative writers that's going to do that. But it does seem like Blizzard is sort of hell-bent on cutting down and streamlining the entire process when it comes to writing specifically in World of Warcraft. And I, for one, think that is a good thing. If you look at World of Warcraft, if you look at my criticisms of World of Warcraft's story, basically since Shadowlands, but sort of BFA had elements of this as well, very often the story just felt not connected. It didn't feel like the story connected to anything else. Dragonflight was probably the best example of this. You had...
I really, like, I mean, you could give my personal opinion about this. Like, I don't think that being connected is the problem. I think the problem is the story is fucking lame. It's fucking lame and pathetic and soy. And I just go back, I look at even the Legion cinematics, I look at the Diablo 2 cinematics. It's just not there, man. Like, I'm sorry, it's a low T story. It is. It's a no T story. Like, it's pathetic. I'm sorry, it just is. Like, that's it. Legion felt connected to the old war. Yeah. Being connected is good, though. I understand that. I'm just bringing up my perspective.
The side quests of Dragonflight, that was side stories of Dragonflight, that was phenomenally well done. And then you had the main storyline for Dragonflight that felt rushed almost. It felt like they were just trying to get too many things to be done at the same time, and it all just ended up feeling a little disjointed. When in reality...
Like, my opinion of the Dragonflight story, from what I saw of it, is like there was nothing about it that was good. The only part of it that I thought was good was Razageth. I thought Razageth was cool. But after that, I just thought it was stupid. I thought it was stupid. Like, I didn't like it. There's nothing about that I liked.
You could have made side storylines that tied into the main storyline and explained a lot more of the main storyline.
Yeah.
So for example, Viranoth and Viranoth's mindset around finally coming over to the side of the aspects, that could have been a really cool side story to sort of explore. But it genuinely, when you look at the story of Dragonflight, it really did feel like there were just too many people writing too many things and almost entirely disconnected from each other. It fit. That's not the problem. All of the stories fit. I mean, it wasn't like someone came up with a robot story in the middle of a dragon expansion. So it wasn't that. The problem was more that...
hey, they did that in Ulduar, and it was better than Dragonflight. Like, that's not the problem.
More could have been done to help feed into the main storyline, but this is generally what you would expect to see when stuff is written by committee. But anyways, that's it for me. I wanted to make this video last week. Like I said, a lot of internet problems, ended up just taking the time off. But I still wanted to get this message out to you guys. I still wanted to talk about this because I do think it's an important topic to discuss. Yeah. And, you know, I'm assuming some of you actually care about my opinion on these things. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It has been my pleasure to entertain you. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike, a dislike. And then for $1 a month over on Patreon, you too can help keep this channel free from sponsorships that want to sell you stuff that you do not need. Right now, I have a Q&A video over on the Patreon for those of you that want to watch it. Anyways, peace.
So I wanted to watch this video and just talk about this because I think that Blizzard is taking a pretty big risk by having Metzen do the story again and like kind of like redoing the whole thing. But I feel like with the WoW story, they have nothing left to lose. They do. They have nothing left to lose. Like, the story cannot possibly get dumber and like cringier than it is. So, like, I mean, that's really what it is. Like, I can't see it getting worse. Like, I just want to see them change something. What's wrong with Metzen? I don't know. Like, like, it's just that we haven't seen a change yet. So, like, obviously, it's great, you know, but, like, what's it going to be like? Let's find out. I want to see it, right? I'm the kind of guy, like, it's... Look, promises are amazing, but I want to see what actually happens. Is it realistic for Blizzard to realize their best shot at redemption is making WoW 2 and starting from scratch? It doesn't matter. Like, and this is the thing, is that why would it matter if they make WoW 2 if the people that are making WoW 2 are the ones that wrote Dragonflight? You see the problem there? You see the situation? It's like if you grow an apple tree and then you plant an apple expecting for it to be pears. It's not going to be pears. It's going to be another fucking apple. That's it. So you got Diablo 4, soft modern. I feel like that's really that's the best term that I can use for the WoW storyline, man. Logic go burr. Look at Sod. Sod is just, bro, like, Sod is, oh my god. Like, there's too much stuff in the game, but I feel like a lot of people... I think that, like, the story for WoW didn't matter until it got so dumb that it's like people, like, drew attention to how problematic it was. You know, I feel like that's kind of what happened, is like it got so bad that people actually started drawing attention to the lack of quality.